Good morning.
Hello, everyone.
Year before Christmas, usually about 4 weeks before Christmas, um, traditionally in the church calendar, this time is referred to as Advent, the start of Jesus' birth and his ministry. Um, so often that period is also characterized by a period or by the aspect of waiting. That is a very important element of that period. And reading the Gospels, especially if you look at the Gospel of John, then the Gospel of Luke, then you see there is this waiting after the announcement of births. There's the announcement of the birth of John the Baptist and Zechariah and Elizabeth waiting for him, and then obviously Mary, who gets this announcement, this epiphany, and then she has to wait. So it's a period of waiting, and this Advent time and that aspect, it plays out in the contemplative spirituality. It's such an important aspect in life in general.
And I think it's something that we, as modern day people, really struggle with in time, in terms of our time management, in terms of what everything that we feel we have to get done. We really struggle to wait.
Yes,
We don't want to wait in queues. We don't want to wait for results. We don't want to.
We don't want to wait for parts. We don't want to wait for orders that we've ordered online.
Yeah, it has to come the next day. So we really do not have a culture of or a stance of being prepared to wait.
Yeah, because we are proud of the fact that we are very productive and we get things done.
Yeah.
And when you get things done and you are driven in that sense, there's no time to wait.
Yeah. Yeah, wait seems like lost time, like a waste of
time. A waste of time
and often of money. Yeah.
And also by waiting, we feel vulnerable because we don't control the situation. We wait and we're not quite sure what is going to happen, what will the outcome be. So we can't manipulate it really, so we have to wait in that sense, and it makes us vulnerable.
Yeah, and I think we often think that waiting is empty time.
Yes.
But if you look at something like a pregnancy, it is everything but empty. I mean, there's that preparation for the baby. It's the growth of the baby, the caring. There's a lot happening with one while you are waiting. That's just one example. And I think it has to do with the realization that waiting is valuable.
Yes.
That waiting is necessary. Often when we go through different life phases, there's this feeling of something that you are moving towards, but you actually know that you're not ready for it. Something has to settle inside of you. You're actually waiting for and it's more a feeling than something that you know. It's mentally know, and it's a difficult time of. It's almost a liminal space. I think
it is.
To wait is to be in a liminal space.
Yes. Yes, the in-betweens.
But it's not empty.
No.
It's not without meaning. It can be very, very rich in growth possibilities, potential to for that what must get ready, for that which you are waiting.
Yes.
To be able to be born.
Yes. And it's not passive.
No.
A period of waiting is not passive in the sense that nothing is happening during that period. Often, maybe without realizing it, often the period of waiting is waiting that we can become the person that we have to be for the next phase to open up.
Yeah, yeah. You sound like Uncle Jim.
But that's
Yes, it's true. It's true. I mean, and I think often the thing that we are waiting for will not happen before that growth has happened in us.
it is.
It might be the desire of our heart, but it will not. I mean, it's often so difficult when you or you look at other people. You say they are happily married. There's this. But those people have maybe gone through a very, very long process of growing, and so their relationship has become something of um, um, almost a result
A
is a
culmination
culmination of a growth
or the
path.
fruit.
And you wish for that, but in yourself there may be so many wounds, so many things that still needs to be healed for you to be able to be in such a relationship or something similar to that. So there's often this like you say, this stance, and I think that's maybe, and that's also something that James Finley says. um, Often we cannot make happen that which um, we desire, which we hope for, but we can take the stance of least resistance for that which which can happen to open up to you. What's those last part of the words? I'm not getting it right.
To assume the stance of least resistance to make that happen which I cannot make happen.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm thinking of Noah. He just popped into my head just now, and I thought we often are so impatient. And I'm thinking of Noah. If it was raining for 40 days and 40 nights, and then they had to be on the boat, I think, or on the ark for another 200 days or somewhere around there. And they had to wait for the water to subside. And if they tried to leave the ark before then, they would not have survived.
Yes.
So that's another example of waiting.
Yes.
And of testing the waters, literally.
Yes.
Sending out the dove and
the crow.
The crow. So it's another very beautiful metaphor of waiting.
And that fact of something, realizing that we live out of a stance of least resistance. So things aren't there yet. I'm waiting for something. And if within the contemplative spirituality, can live with a stance of least resistance for this to happen, it also reminds me of what Rilke is saying. He says, often we have a lot of questions and uncertainty, but the answers can't be given you now.
You have to live the questions.
You have to live the questions.
And almost live into the answer.
That's exactly what he says. You have to live into the answer. You have to live the questions. You have to live the uncertainty. To a large degree, we live a life of avoidance. We don't want to go there. We don't want to sit with a discomfort, with a longing, with a void. But if we have this stance of being open, and that's Mary, let this happen to me. She has this stance of least resistance. Let this happen to me. I'm open for this to happen to me.
Without really knowing where that would take
her. No.
Yeah. And I think that's often also a part of the frustration, is that we have this desire. We would like something to happen, and we already have decided what it is that we are waiting for, what the result or the outcome must be. So we are actually sitting and waiting for that specific thing to happen, which is very narrow in terms of the possibilities in terms of the way that the creative I want to say fabric of life and the way that God is involved in our lives, the way that it can open up. There may be so many open doors, but we are so fixed on this one door that has to open that we are not aware of all the other doors that are opening.
Mm.
So we sit and wait for this one solution, outcome. Um, and by doing that, we are actually making life smaller.
Mm. Mm.
And I think, in terms of that, Mary again is such a good example of opening up to infinite possibilities. She had no idea what the birth of this baby would lead to.
Just this morning, I was reading a phrase by T.S. Eliot where he says, to get to the place that we know not, we have to go by the way we know not.
Yes, yes.
And it's this openness,
Yeah.
this uncertainty. You use that phrase, the well-known phrase of the liminal space. And quoting left, right, and center this morning, but David White saying in one of his poems that phrase, anything that you can plan is too small for you.
Yeah. Oh, I love that one. I love that one. To not plan is the difficult part. To not take control. To not be always in control is really difficult.
And when we say that, I mean, looking at our own lives, we say this stance of least resistance, this stance of being open, this stance of waiting. But if you look at our days, there's planning in our days. We say, all right, we're busy with the renovating of the retreat center, and we're busy with working on the old house. What needs to be done today? Do we have the material that we need to paint the next room?
Yeah.
So it's not a passivity as, you know what, I'm a contemplative.
So whatever comes across my day is what comes. I think there is more of a leniency should something pop up, should something actually need to happen, and we would then not fight that so much, maybe.
Yeah, so
there might be frustration, but you will go with the flow, or try to go with the flow.
So you start taking off the tiles in the bathroom.
Yeah.
So that it can be plastered and attached again. And then you discovered it's not only the tiles coming off, but the pipes in the walls are leaking.
Yeah.
And then you have to address that.
Yeah. And then you don't have all the parts, and you are 45 or 50 k's away from a hardware store. So yeah, so there's all those things, and I think that stance of not fighting everything, not and I think it makes a huge difference in one's general well-being. I mean, almost sold on what needs to be done and needs to be done now. I think that you often say, and I don't know who said that, is that if you don't want to waste time, you must be willing to wait.
Yes.
And that's
often.
One that we can leave you with. It always sort of throws my mind in a loop. What exactly does that mean? But often by forcing things, we lose time.
Yes.
Because we might have to circle around again and wait.
And maybe a last thought. God is very patient and caring. And if He wants to bring us to a certain point, I don't want to, but almost wants us to grasp something, to live into that. If we are impatient and we sidestep that process now, it's almost as if on a next occasion he brings us back to that again. So if we don't wait, we waste time.
Yeah, because that is the process that we will have to go through,
Yes,
and it will announce itself.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
I'm thinking of something like grief.
Mm,
You can keep yourself busy. You can do so many things, but the grief will need to be addressed if you want to go through that in an emotionally healthy way.
yeah.
Come out at the other end. You will have to go through the processes, as hard as that might be.
Mm. So waiting has to do with beginnings, with birth. It has to do with life. It has to do with end of life.
Mm.
It's all of this, and in this period of waiting uh, and being open, may you have a, a blessed time here over the festive season, waiting for the new of the new year. Um, may it be a rich time for you and your loved ones.
And if you are on holiday or at home, have a really good rest. We all deserve that.
Keep well.
Keep well. Goodbye.